Hey guys, and welcome to today's podcast where I'm joined by Eean Ovens, the Agency Assassin founder, which I'm sure many of you will be interested in and have heard of, and I'm pretty sure a lot of my audience love Google Maps, CTR manipulation. So, Eean, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here and sharing your tool, tips, and knowledge and experience. But before we go into the nitty gritty, can you give the audience, for anyone who might not be aware of who you are and what your background is, just a brief introduction to yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in the SEO space since my first introduction was 2008, where I was doing operations management and somebody came in and proposed SEO to my company. My first SEO contract that I did was in 2011. I've been focused on Google Maps since I was pretty early to that game. 2016 is when I started majorly focusing on Google Maps. I started an agency, which I handed off to my business partner in 2020, so that I could focus on Agency Assassin. And since then, I've been predominantly working on this. So we've got some other products that we've worked on as well. Like we've got an auditing tool we haven't released yet that does large market audits of competitive analysis for Google Maps that we've had in the works for over a year now. But our primary product is Agency Assassin, which is a CTR product that does, it's a SaaS product that automates and manages all of the CTR. And we manage proxies, we manage scheduling, and we offer a few different types of interactions on those listings. And so that's what our product is.
Just one quick question, Eean, from my perspective. So a lot of people out there are using all sorts of different tools, but Agency Assassin, or Assassin, if I'm right, is the fully managed. Is that right?
Yes.
We put in what we want, and then it's fully managed from there. You don't need to go back to it and all that.
Yeah, so our happiest clients are the ones that want to be completely hands off. So if you have 30 Google Maps locations and you don't want to have to like check anything or just check reporting, the software works really great for that. It's a SaaS. We manage all the proxies, we manage all the identities, all that you have to do is configure it, which I was going to go through on this call. We were just going to set up a dummy account. And I was going to show how we do that, but it takes like 5 minutes to set up a campaign, and then it just runs. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds interesting. Obviously, we met out at Rockstars. We were both there. And obviously, there were certain people at Rockstars presenting and talking very, very highly of Agency Assassin there. Michael Merlino being one of the big dogs out there who's absolutely crushing it in the GMB space. And obviously he showed all of his examples and demonstrations of killing it in places like New York, which is remarkable.
Yeah, it was very flattering. Actually, that was the first time that I was at a conference where everybody knew what the product was, and I got a lot of really positive. The people who loved it totally love it, and I had some people who tried it early on when our product performance wasn't as good, who had some other feedback that it hadn't worked for them, and that was actually. But overall, I had some really great, really positive feedback, especially from Michael. People having the software work very well. The elephant in the room, which we've talked about already, was after my launch, a lot of people tried the software, and about a year ago, we got a ton of new clients, and that was when we were struggling the most with our product performance. And a lot of people's first try of our software was actually when we were struggling the most with the performance of the software. And actually, that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago now. For anybody who's tried it before, we have made a lot of improvements in the software, and our performance is a lot more consistent now, just for people's edification.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I'm one of those guys that try things, and if it doesn't work there and then, you're dead forever.
Yeah.
For me, but that's the stupid way to look at it. Things develop, and get built upon, and experience and all that kind of stuff, and all the tweaks make for an amazing tool. No one can be top performing all the time.
Yeah.
Things because of the bloody Google themselves,
Yeah.
causing problems.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah. I don't think they like us much.
definitely not. Definitely not. But let's dive in and get sharing your screen and show us what it's all about and what it can do for people out there. So I'm just going to share your screen.
Yes.
The screen is shared.
So I'll start by, I'm just going to show the way the software works, run through an actual campaign, and then I'll go through some success, some prior success, campaign success, and success over time. So this is actually, these are actually some test campaigns that I set up last year. And I was actually going to show this because this isn't actually anybody that I know. So this isn't like a client of mine. This was just something that I set up to see how the software worked. But, so these are just reports on, well. So for a second, this one actually went up a bunch. I'm going to show some other ones. I was like, oh, okay, well, this one went up a ton, and then it went back down. So, but basically the interface of the software, the way that this works is you have, all of your different like search terms in here, and we do actual grid reports. So these grids are, showing basically, before and after from when you start it. So you can actually look per search term. We also show competitor data. So you can actually jump in here and look at, this data is too old. But the basic design of the software is just something that you can set up super quickly and walk away from, and it'll be running for you. So for instance, if you're all right, so I'll just do a plumber again. We'll just do plumber. Okay, so if you know your business name, and actually I'll find one here. Fix plumber near me. That's what we got to. All right, Applewood Plumbing, Heating, and Electric. All right, so we go to Applewood Plumbing, Heating, and Electric. Okay, so what this has done is it's actually looked up the Google location. Like this is the actual location for the physical address. If we look at those, like those two things will be matching. So this is where it's located, and it already pulled up the map here in the same location. You can select a search radius. This is going to be the primary way you can basically set difficulty. If you have a really well performing campaign, where you want the radius is basically to go out to as far as you're in at least the top 20, because you want to be on the page 1 results for your CTR. If you're ranking significantly worse than that, CTR tends to work worse. What you can do if you're ranking significantly worse than that is focus on branded keywords. So if you do branded search to start and you seed it with branded search, then when you start adding target keywords, Google responds a lot more favorably towards those. If you're not doing any branded search and you just start throwing a ton of target keywords at it, that just doesn't look legitimate. You can actually see rankings drop. Mm-hmm. If you see rankings drop, you can kind of lower your volume and you can focus on branded keywords. Okay, so once you've got your location and you've selected your search radius, and the campaign is enabled, basically, what you're going to do is you can select how aggressive to get on the campaign right here with this conversion slider. So here you can, basically what this is saying is how many times are we actually going to click through to the Google Maps? So how many CTR events are we going to do? Our target at 100% is 100 events a day, but it does depend on how many page views we have to do. So it's actually 100 page views. So if you're on page 6 on all the rankings that you do, then you're going to get 1/6 of that because it takes us 1 page view per page. And that's just how we manage data and make sure that we're able to give everybody some data without having our costs go way too high to have these be managed. So, so we give you as many as we can with your data budget. So here you'd be looking at about 10 conversion events a day. And as you go up to here, this is pushing 100. Usually you'll end up seeing closer to 70 to 80 in the real world, just due to additional page loads, all the way up here, which is a lot of CTR. I actually see it work very well on lots of listings this high. And then here you can select how we're going to convert that. So if we're doing 100 events a day, right now we're doing 50-50, clicking to website or clicking to call. But we can also add driving directions requests. This is a new one, module that we added in the last couple of months. And that'll actually, I'll show you how the driving directions works. So here we've got Applewood Plumbing, Heating and Electric. This is a company in Lakewood, Colorado. So how I actually get keywords most of the time, and you can do it however you like. You can of course use your Ahrefs data or SEMrush or wherever else you want to get your keyword data. These days, I'm just doing write a list of likely keywords for a business in Lakewood, Colorado that offers plumbing, heating, what was it? Just plumbing, heating, and electric service without numbering and with each keyword on a separate line. Okay, so I'll do this. And sometimes it'll come out better than others, including Lakewood in the keyword. There we go. All right. So I'll take this list. You want to do about 20 keywords. This is a pretty good list. And I'm just going to add these in here. And then I would do the brand. I'd do the brand verbatim, and then a couple of. So I do that. Oops. I might do it with and I might do. So you want to get some branded in there as well, and just to establish that the brand is legitimate.
Yeah.
Then the last piece is I'm just going to copy the CID on this one. You want the CID in order to do the driving directions. It validates the CID when it's doing driving directions. That's a manual process right now. We were looking at how to get that automated, but basically all that I did is I grabbed the CID URL. You can also grab the place URL if you this would work. This URL, the place URL, will also work. Pasted into this location.
Yeah.
So either one works. And then basically what it's going to do is for driver directions, it's looking for landmarks. This will actually search for a certain number of landmarks. So here we've got like 10 different generic types of locations. I'm just selecting 20 landmarks. You can select a larger search radius. So if you're not ranking as well in a large area, driver directions actually work further out in a large area. So then I just run search, and this will actually run. It's going to go scrape. That's scraping about 200 different landmarks in the area around the business to create driving directions from. And then that campaign is now configured. So that's how the software works. And then once it's running, then you get I can't pop back in there because I'm in my in the wrong account here. But then you can open up the reporting and view those grid reports and stuff like that on the search results, which I'll show you right now. So this was a campaign where this was a Google Maps location that had been it actually got suspended and we couldn't get it back. So this is the first day that this location was present, and it was ranking in the 30s. Obviously not getting any leads or anything like that. This was day one. I actually I'm missing a few steps because my next view is going to be 90 days out, but I wanted to show this campaign was only CTR. So we turned it on, we forgot about it. Besides in the first months, we did do some work to get reviews. So we got about 15 reviews in the first month. And so it did pop up a bit. And then as we went, this is actually 3 months out. So 3 months out, basically, this is after just running CTR for 3 months. Obviously, it's up quite a bit over the course of 3 months. This is month 4. And this is month 5. So this is where it peaked. This is really at this point, we were getting around 50 leads a month off of this property, but all that we were doing was CTR. And then, so one thing that I definitely recommend, and one thing that works really well with the CTR is targeting knowledge graph. So using content clusters, using on-site content, and you could use one thing to be aware of is on-page article spam is a big thing as of helpful content. On-page article spam works very well for knowledge graph. Google knows that. If they know that you're targeting knowledge graph with article spam and you do too many, you'll start to get a penalty. But it still seems to work for Google Maps, just with the entity relationships. And so I'll show you. This was another business. This one is a business doing marketing services, and the strategy here was there was a ton of on-page content. So 100 articles were written in 3 months. Definitely article spam, targeting knowledge graph plus CTR with Agency Assassin. So this is day one from when we launched it, and obviously not very good rankings. This one responded really well. By now, we had already done about 30 articles. So there's a lot of on-site article spam. I mean, they're high quality articles. These were all Surfer 67 or higher, high quality articles, but orphan pages, often not linked internally, very low authority pages. And then this is 2 months out. So at 2 months, we grabbed all of our major keywords and ranked very, very well for this. And again, this is just using essentially, it's not really article spam. They're high quality articles, but they're low authority pages. Internally linking to pillar pages to target some search term using knowledge graph plus CTR. And this is it today. So it's still working very well. The site actually is ranking very poorly on search engine result placements for these same terms, very, very poorly. But on Google Maps, it's still working extremely well. And I that might change. When they started pushing knowledge graph to Google Maps, to my knowledge, that was about 2 years ago. Since then, usually what you see is a lag of a month or two between search engine result placements and Google Maps when you're talking about like knowledge graph signals. So in other words, a signal might work on Serps, and then it migrates to Google Maps, and it used to be a lag of a couple months. So I'm not sure whether or not we're going to see this drop a bunch because that site is ranking very poorly on Serps, but for right now, it's working very well. So, any questions, Craig?
So, the big thing I've got to ask, which I'm just making the assumption because again, I get all these questions all the time, is once you get to their position 5 or whatever it might be after month 5, do you stop? Do you keep going? What's the strategy there going forward? How do we also how do we get what Merlino's got with his are all number ones? What else? Because you're saying this is purely, and I know it's Agency Assassin, and it's that's all you offer is the CTR part. But give us an idea of what other things we can do to get the top slot.
Yeah, so I mean the top ranking factors right now by far on Google Maps are knowledge graph, entity signaling, engagement, CTR, and reviews. And those ones, I mean, most people who are doing really, really well are doing those. There are some services. There are some services that are doing like manual driving directions requests, like Holly Starks does that. Those will help to bump up that last bit as well. They're doing actual devices and doing extended driving directions, but it's a good signal. But engagement, it's really engagement and then reviews and stuff. If you have good authority using like your knowledge graph stuff plus CTR plus reviews, this is marketing in a major metro. So this is highly competitive. There are about 200 competitors on this report, and most of them have been around for about 10 or 15 years. So I mean, like most of our clients are getting ones and twos for, services, home services and stuff like that, just off of these strategies. This one is up against SEOs. It's a bit more competitive. But yeah, so I would say, the biggest things really that are working on Google Maps are if you have like consistent reviews, like fresh reviews, plus these other strategies, and that is generally what's doing the job. I mean, this is more than competitive enough for most niche in a major metro that you're going to be doing to get a top spot. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, obviously, you mentioned this is a complete, or I mentioned, sorry, that this is a completely hands-off service. So all these people really need to do is go and input that data. That's it. There's nothing else to do. No proxies, no nothing. Everything else is handled for you.
Yep. That's how it works. Exactly. So once it's set up, it's just running automatically. I don't have to maintain these at all. And it's honestly really nice just because, for the agency, there's basically just knowing that if we turn this on, that the clients are going to see improvement over time. I can tell you as a user of the software, it is a huge load off. Because once I turn this on, I know that I'm going to have positive reports in a month or two, and I generally always do, especially when you combine it with some of the other entity signaling and stuff. Yeah, and it is really nice. What I hear from my clients, I have clients who have told me that this is the only thing that they run. That they literally have clients who are paying them $1,500 to $2,500 a month, and it keeps the rankings up on Google Maps enough that this is basically all they're doing. There's that's not going to be every single account, but I know that for a lot of the people using the software, they've figured out how to use it well enough that that's what they're getting out of it. That's not, the clients who are performing the best are basically white hat SEO clients who do all the fundamentals really well. They're on page is really, really good. The GMB is extremely well optimized, and then they add engagement and it just blows up. That's very commonly what I'm seeing. Yeah. So
interesting. That's good if you can have a complete done for you service where you don't have to worry about proxies and the bloody tool breaking down and glitching out and all that kind of weird stuff. It's good to just have the ability to leave that stress at your door. As an SEO guy, yeah, get it done and just see good progress. Going forward, if you get any up and coming additional features or anything you're trying to work on to help improve, or are you happy with the way it's going just now? Is there anything else that people need to be doing in order to be trying to get more out of GMBs? Because all I hear is GMBs are getting harder, they're getting suspended, they're this, they're that. And I know there's a lot of people doing hooky tactics and stuff, but GMBs is a competitive space. So is there anything else you guys are doing to in the future that might be of use?
I mean, so I've got a product that I would love to release, but it's going to be a bit of work. So I don't know when I'm releasing it. And that one actually will scrape, we actually have it all functional. We just need to build a new entire UI for it that works better. But essentially we can scrape all of the different data elements for an entire market for a search term and look at all the categories, look at all the reviews, and kind of build like the competitive profile, kind of like a Ahrefs for Google Maps. That software I don't have scheduled for release. It would be really useful. It's kind of a big project, and we right now our focus for the last 2 years has been getting our performance on Agency Assassin to be really, really good. We were developing that product for about 8 months, and then we decided to, because when we launched the software it wasn't performing that well, we decided to focus on this until it was working great. As far as additional functionality here, I mean, yes, there are some different conversion methods. There's some different ways of targeting different areas. The one thing that we're pretty sure we're going to have to do in the future, because we're seeing things move in that direction, is eventually we're probably going to have proxies in every state. So right now we don't have proxies in every state, and it does still work pretty well. But that would be one of the things that we see it becoming more important over time, which is something that we've worked on to a degree, but it's going to have to become a lot more aggressive over time. We're guessing Google doesn't want to throw out signal, and so if they get especially cell, they can't always tell what the location is on like cellular data, and so we're able to use that to our benefit fairly well. But there is some chance that Google will be willing to throw that out more and more in order just to prevent people from, manipulating. So that's probably one of the long-term changes that we're going to have to make.
Good. Yeah. Now, you mentioned to me off air about a potential opportunity for people to, by the 25th of January, they've got to get on this call with you. So give us a little bit of information on that for anyone who's watching, going, I fancy this. What happens next? So what can we do there?
Yeah, so Craig and I have been talking about doing a Black Friday deal, and I didn't get it out in time. And so, to be fair to my other affiliates, I can't advertise exactly what the deal is, but it's really, really good. It's a substantial lifetime discount. If you schedule on, I've got a Calendly link, which is calendly.com/agencyassassin, and you schedule by the 25th of January and just mention that you saw me on Craig's podcast. I'll meet with you one-on-one. I'll give you 15 or 30 minutes. We can review your strategies and the software, and I'll give you Craig's code for a Black Friday deal that I never released. Otherwise, I've got Craig Campbell 10 for 10% off for lifetime for all of your users, Craig, and that'll be good anytime if you happen to miss out on this the limited deal. So all that I'm requiring is get on a meeting with me. I'll talk to you, get to meet you face to face. We'll talk about the software, and I'll get you a code for a lifetime deal that's just for Craig's users.
The link to the Agency Assassin Calendly is going to be below the video, so make sure you grab that before the 25th of January. Limited time for that little part, and grab 15 or 30 minutes of Eean's time, which he's the best guy to speak to get your strategy analysed. So take full advantage, guys. But Eean, other than the deal and all that kind of stuff, where is the best place for people to get a hold of you? They might go, Agency Assassin might not be their thing, but they don't do local, but they quite like the sound of what you do. How do they just reach out and get in touch?
Yeah, you can email me, Eean, EEAN, @agencyassassin.com with anything that you've got. That Calendly link, feel free to use that and set up a meeting. Be happy to talk to you about whatever it is that you're dealing with. yeah, and happy to share what's working and where I think things are going, or talk to you about your business if you're having any struggles. I've helped quite a few people improve their Google Maps rankings, so yeah, happy to do so.
So do get in touch with Eean, very approachable guy. Eean, thank you for taking the time to jump on and share more about Agency Assassin. And for anyone out there wanting to topple Big Michael Merlino, this is part of his strategy. And if you want to operate at the top end of Google My Business, then Agency Assassin is certainly working very, very well for that. So do check it out.
Hi there. Craig was giving me a chance to kind of clear up something from our interview. So he was asking me about how people get top 3, and I was looking at the report that was showing that those grids that we were looking at had like 4s and 5s. And I was realizing that I wasn't actually making it clear that both of those listings that we were looking at got multiple top 3. But those reports in Agency Assassin are an aggregate, so it's an average for every term. One of those listings had 45 terms that we were ranking for. Another one had 32. And so I just wanted to show you what those look like real quick. So first of all, this is the lead gen site, and actually 12 of our target keywords out of 35 are in the top 3 for this one. This site, or this GMB generates about 40 leads a month off of this, and this is basically all of the SEO we've been doing on that. This is the other one. This is the marketing company, and 23 out of 45 of all of our search terms are ranking in the top 3 for this one. So this again generates leads. Lead flow is a lot slower, but this is also for marketing companies. The leads are really high value. But yeah, so this grid is an average of all of these terms down here. And so when it says 4s and 5s, it takes into account that this one is ranked 45. So anyways, yep. So I just wanted to clear that up, and Craig let me settle the record before he uploaded this video, just so you guys would know how this report looks, and that we're actually generating many, many, many top 3 results. I mean, I would be hard pressed to find a client that wouldn't be thrilled about 23 out of 45 of their search terms showing up in the top 3.
Awesome. But thanks, Eean. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Craig. I really appreciate you having me on.